The infamous serial killer John Wayne Gacy was known as the Killer Clown in the late 1970s. Now I know many clicked on this video to learn about the highly secretive and perverse Royal Order of Jesters, but before we get ahead of ourselves, Gacy may just be an example of an initiated jester in action. Welcome to Hidden America. Now, not many are aware of John Wayne Gacy's Masonic associations, but Gacy was a member of the Loyal Order of the Moose, an esoteric and fraternal order who was connected to the craft. 4 presidents were in the Moose Club: Warren G. Harding, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, and Harry S. Truman. Each of these 4 men were also Shriners. In order to be invited into the Royal Order of Jesters, you must be a 33rd degree Freemason and a Shriner. J. Edgar Hoover, a 33rd degree Freemason and Shriner, is often blamed for the death of JFK. Kennedy was the last sitting president who was allegedly against secret societies like Masonry. Now the list of Shriners includes astronaut Buzz Aldrin, Duke Ellington, Johnny Cash, Brad Paisley, Ty Cobb, Nat King Cole, Jack Dempsey, Sam Hornish Jr., Roy Rogers, Bart Starr, Trace Speaker, the Wendy's guy Dave Thomas, and Abraham Zapruder. This is just a small sample of Shriners. How many of these men made it to the invitation-only Royal Order of Jesters? Well, that's a question we will try to answer soon. Other notable Shriners include Clark Gable and John Wayne. Well, John Wayne Gacy, through his membership in his own fraternal order, the Moose Club, became aware of a Jolly Joker Clown Club. Now I ask, is this a wink and nod to the Royal Order of Jesters? Was Gacy invited into this highly secretive and perverse group of clowns? Why do I ask this? Well, start off by Googling the Jolly Joker Clown Club, or maybe the Jolly Joker Clown Club Chicago. John Wayne Gacy's supposed Jolly Joker Clown Club never existed. It does not exist, period. No documentation or evidence can be found regarding the Jolly Joker Club in Chicago. The Jolly Joker is simply a calling card. It is an off-brand Joker card, a nod and wink to the Royal Order of Jesters. Remember, Gacy admitted to 33 murders. That damn number 33. There's 33 degrees in Masonry to enter the shrine. Like Freemason John Wilkes Booth was a patsy for the Lincoln assassination, was Gacy simply a patsy for all the horrendous acts of the Royal Jesters? On the outside, Shriners regularly perform at fundraising events and parades in addition to volunteering and entertaining hospitalized children. Behind closed doors, the archetype of the creepy clown comes to life, and children are their preferred target. As the story goes, in the late 1975, Gacy joined the Clown Club and created his own characters, Pogo the Clown and Patches the Clown, devising his own makeup and costumes. He described Pogo as a happy clown, whereas Patches was a more serious character. You can see the Masonic checkerboard, light and dark, Pogo and Patches, yin and yang, Boaz and Joachim. It is critically important to remember Gacy had previously been convicted in 1968 of sodomy of a teenage boy in Waterloo, Iowa, and was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment, but he only served 18 months. He murdered his first victim in 1972, had murdered twice more by the end of 1975 and murdered at least 30 victims after his divorce from his second wife in 1976. Gacy committed all of his known murders inside his ranch-style house. Once inside Gacy's home, his usual modus operandi was to ply a youth with drink, drugs, or generally gain his trust. He would then produce a pair of handcuffs to show a magic trick, sometimes as part of his clowning routine. He typically cuffed his own hands behind his back, then surreptitiously released himself with a hidden key. He then offered to show his intended victim the trick. With his victim restrained, Gacy proceeded with rape and torture, eventually killing them with his last trick. Gacy would place a rope tourniquet around their neck and progressively tightening it with the hammer handle. He called this the rope trick. Gacy was convicted of 33 murders in multiple states. Like I said, 33 murders. Like you must be a 33rd degree Mason in order to enter the shrine. One of the things Gacy told investigators after his arrest was that he had not acted alone in several of his murders. He asked whether my associates had been arrested. They asked if his associates acted directly or indirectly in the killings. Gacy said directly. Gacy named Philip Paskey, who was a close associate of John David Norman and an acquaintance of Philip Cram. In the late 1970s, Norman operated a nationwide sex trafficking ring based in Chicago known as the Delta Project. Kenneth Parker and Michael Marino, two men that were murdered by Gacy, had last been seen alive close to where Norman lived, leading to speculation that Gacy had been connected to this trafficking ring. The investigation into the disappearance of Des Plaines teenager Robert Peast led to Gacy's arrest on December 21st, 1978. As mentioned, Gacy was convicted of sodomy in 1968. Ritual sodomy is one way the Black Lodges of Freemasonry use to open portals to the lower astral realms. But this is just one way. DMT is another way. But in order to bridge a gap to the lower astral realms, there must be an effective force to create a door or a portal. A vessel or a conduit must be created, a form of a vortex. That life force is blood. Hence, Gacy's 33 murders. Again, we must ask the obvious question: was Gacy simply a patsy for the many perverse acts by members of the Royal Orders of Jesters? And you must be asking by now, what perverse acts? Oh, we'll get there. Were the Jesters, were these Gacy's associates? Now, our body is the most powerful force in the universe. Blood is the literal physical manifestation of our life force. Blood is used as a conduit, an offering to these lower demonic entities. These negative souls or demonic entities were the same entities that are seen on a DMT trip that often appear as clowns or tricksters, often called the machine elves, want to return to the physical realm. They want to feel human emotions, but they need a live host to use, a warm body to again indulge in all the perversions of their prior material life. The Mason must consent to the entity taking control of their vessel. They become a husk, a demonic NPC. The trickster entity who acted friendly to the practitioner is now in total control, and their lust for blood becomes insatiable. Now, this is even shown in the Bible in Mark 8:28 through 33. And when he, Jesus, came to the other side into the country of the Gadarenes, Two demon-possessed men confront him as they were coming out of the tombs. They were so extremely violent that no one could pass by that way, and they cried out saying, "What business do you have with us, Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time?" Now there was a herd of many pigs feeding at a distance from them, and the demons begged him, saying, "If you're going to cast us out, send us into the herd of pigs." And he said to them, "Go." And they came out and went into the pigs, and behold, the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea and drowned in the waters. Notice the demonic entity was sent out from the human body, the live host, the warm body, to the pigs, another live host, but not with the capabilities of a human. Therefore, the pigs went mad going into the water. Now, how does this tie into the Shriners and the Jesters? The Shriners are known to dress up as clowns and ride their miniature cars. A nod to the Jester, these demonic Jester entities that we find in the DMT realm. The archetype of the DMT realm is the circus, and now it's like we are merging realms, turning the physical into a clown world. One of the major Masonic secrets is when the Mason reaches the top, or what he thinks is the top of Jacob's ladder, the voice he hears is none other than the Jester, the great architect of the universe. Now some have called him the Demiurge. The Gnostics called him Sackless, which meant the fool. Others call him the demonic clown, the Jester. Now let's talk about the Royal Order of Jesters. Within the Shriners is a select group. Remember, in Masonry, there are orders within orders, invitation only. This group is called the Royal Order of Jesters. This perverse group was started in 1917 by not a Grand Master, but by the producer and his cast. 12 original members, 13 total. Unlucky number 13. The Shriners was also found in New York City in 1972 by 13 men, and their original temple was called Mecca. 13 total. Jesus and his 12 disciples betrayed by Judas. Odin had 12 allies gathered in Valhalla when Loki ambushed the group. Loki was the 13th guest, and Balder the Beautiful, who personified the sun, was killed. In tarot, death is the 13th key in the major arcana. In the 13th Psalms it states, "The fool has said in his heart, there is no God." The producer and the cast. This may explain the Hollywood connection with all of the jester and killer clown symbolism in cinema. As we talked about in earlier threads, everyone in Hollywood and on the world stage has taken the oath. The Royal Order of Jesters takes this perversion to the next level. The Royal Order of Jesters is simply a cloak for a multinational, esoteric sex trafficking operation. Their preferred method is sodomy, the back door to the Kabbalistic tree of life. This is why you see so much phallic symbolism in Masonic symbolism. This is their modus operandi, to allow these entities, these demonic entities, the biblical legion, to enter the material realm. In the King James Bible, in Mark 5:9, Jesus asks a demonically possessed man, and he asked him, "What is thy name?" And he answered, saying, "My name is Legion, for we are many." The Royal Order of Jesters were exposed in 2008 for a non-profit tax fraud, human trafficking, and prostitution at the taxpayer's expense, all based out of New York City but this story was quickly swept under the rug and buried. It would seem Gacy was affiliated with the Royal Order of Jesters from the beginning. All the context clues are there. Remember, Gacy was associated with the Delta Project, a sex trafficking ring in the Chicago area. All of these rings are connected. Gacy was active in his community and threw lavish parties at his home with the bodies directly in the basement. From 1974 to 1978, he hosted themed annual summer parties. These events were attended by up to 400 people, including politicians and business associates. Gacy was even brash enough to enter into his local Democratic Party politics. In 1975, Gacy was appointed the director of Chicago's annual Polish Constitutional Day Parade. Through his work with the parade, which he would supervise until 1978, Gacy met and was photographed with First Lady Rosalind Carter on May 6, 1978, 6 years after his first murder and 7 months before his final arrest. Gacy was wearing an S pin, S for Shriner. Believe it or not, Jimmy Carter, Rosalind Carter's presidential husband, was also a undercover Hollywood bigwig. Now, the mascot of the Royal Order of Jesters is known as the Billykin. The order was found in 1917. Billykin is also a children's magazine, which was found exactly 2 years later. On the first issue, a child is in the same garb as a new Masonic initiate. This little magazine was founded on 11/17/19. Now, if you add those up, 11/17/19, you get 47. The Masonic compass is set to 47 degrees. Now, there are many charms and pins with the Billykin. If you notice the one above, the red charm, below the Jester's Billykin is positioned in the root chakra, the primordial sexual energy. This is an obvious nod to their favorite pastime, ritual sodomy. Again, showing the shocker, 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. Now, you will notice the Billykin above has the number 17 on the anus. The 17th tarot key is the star, which is Sirius, the blazing star of masonry. Now, this whole video was based off my new book, Why So Serious? DMT Entities, Freemasonry, and the Kingdom of the Jester. Get your copy now. The link is in the bio. If you're interested in handling your mind, body, and soul, I have written and published 5 books at this point that will help you do just that. Get the complete Hidden America collection now. The Etsy reviews do not lie. Thank you to all my Patreons. Join my Patreon to unlock over 300 exclusive Patreon-only articles, tweets, and videos. It is a goldmine of esoteric and metaphysical knowledge. It is the perfect place for the student of the occult sciences, whether a novice or an initiate. Follow me on X and Instagram for daily content. On Twitter, it is @AmericaHidden. Instagram, it is @HiddenAmerica. Now, I'd like to personally thank a few people. Firstly, Greg Brooks, Linda O'Connor, Renee of Switzerland, Ryan Darrow, Michael McCabe, Anthony Rivera, Paul Pickering, Shango Sun, Ken Lewis, Nicholas Lawton, Justin Harris, Vanessa Moreno, Aaron, Taylor Drew, Andrew Ryan, Christopher Almendarez, Carl Parent, Corey McSweeney, Giuliano Orsi, Mark Erickson, and everyone else who has supported me through a very tough time in my life right now. Much love and thank you to each and every one of you.